And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Cubulus, which is almost a cube. It's a really funky box. I mean, I can't imagine how much it costs to produce this box just, to get the shape when it really doesn't matter. But Cubulus is a game that just looks cool. It's an abstract two-player game which brings to mind aspects of Rubik's Cube and, well, just your typical get a certain number of pieces in a certain spot game. It has a three-dimensional aspect to it. Let's take a look. When you open the box, you'll find inside insert the cube for the Cubulus part of this game, and it's made of very moldable plastic. You can squish it up and it will still come back into a cube. And then you got three kinds of marbles here. You got yellow, red, and black. So you can play a three-player game, or you can play two players, black on white, with red being the neutral color. So let's talk about a two-player game. In a two-player game, one of the players takes the 9 neutral balls and they push them in. Because these are moldable, you can push the balls and even push the other balls through. So you stick the 9 of the neutral color in, basically wherever you want, and that's kind of like a starting position for the game. Now, on a player's turn, they're going to pick this up, and they can look at it any direction that they want, and they're going to take one of their own balls and stick it in somewhere. Now, you can put it in an empty spot, or you can put it somewhere and push the other ones like this. Now, when you do that, though, no more can be pushed in from this end. So if I was black, I couldn't push from here because that would push these 3 out, and that's not allowed. But I could do something like this and push those across. And so, as the game progresses, everyone will be sticking the different colored balls into this. And what your goal is you're trying to make a square. And I'll show you a square in a second. Let me put a few more in here. Now, one of the things that you're allowed to do is, instead of placing a ball, and you have to do this when the whole thing is filled with balls, is you can take one of the ends, one of the rows, let's say this black, orange, orange, and I can push so that the bottom ball comes out here of the bottom, and then place that one in on top. So basically you're sliding a row. And anytime you're going to look at all 6 sides of this cube, and like I said, you're trying to make a square. Now, there are a few ways that you can make a square. One of the ways is to simply have 4 of them next to each other so that it makes a square. And right now, as I look this over, I don't see any squares. But there's a possibility of getting a square if I can push this one up 1. And then on a future turn, if my opponent's not watching, I can push it down 1, and there you go. I have a square, 4 next to each other. Another way to have a square is to get 4 in the corners. So if I had, for example, a black here, 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 and here, then that would be a square. Or the 4 corners so that it's a square like this. So black, 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 or white, 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 white. So you're constantly moving them around. The difference when you're playing a 3-player game is the fact that there's 3 different colors. And so the first person to do that is the winner. Then you pop out all the balls and start again. The neatest thing about Cubulus basically is the physical package itself. This is just a neat device. The balls are very good quality. They remind me of the marbles that came with Zerts. This rubbery plastic outside piece just really works well. You can see it holds the balls. They're not coming out, but at the same time, it's not that hard to pop one out and put it back in. So, component quality-wise, absolutely stunning. And I'm starting to think Gigamic is just one of the best companies in this regard, making these great quality games. Gameplay itself, it's very interesting because when it's your turn, you're going to take this and kind of look at all 6 sides and think, okay, if I push that this way. And getting 4 of a square of 4 is not that difficult because there's 4 ways to do it, and you have 6 sides. So there's 24 possible winning combinations for you or the other player. And most games that I played ended up someone saying, "Oh, you won. I wasn't even prepared for that." Or occasionally, "Oh, look at that. I just won," type situation. Because there's spatial 3-dimensional thinking, and you're constantly have to looking, and you can't miss anything. And whenever you move a piece, it affects 4 of the 6 sides. So, I like it. It's a 3-player game. It's crazy. This is best as a two-player game with the neutral red balls staying neutral. But it's interesting. I'm certainly going to hang on to it because, hey, this is all I need to hang on to. I don't even need to hang on to the box. You can just hang on to this piece, and you have a pretty good abstract strategy game. But I don't know that. I'm sure that there's probably deep, subtle strategies behind this game, but they're too wonky for me to figure out. So I'm just kind of playing it as fun. I play it more tactically. I get it and say, what is the best move that I can make now? You probably can go farther than that with this game. And if so, I think you're going to really enjoy it. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy it just for the novelty factor, but there's a really decent game in here also.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.